Notes on a fairly big patch Tuesday. Honda continues its investigation of the incident it sustained over the weekend. Facebook is said to have developed a Tails 0 day to help the FBI with a notorious case. Crooks are turning to search engine optimization. IBM and Google Cloud Services recovered quickly from outages. You're unlikely to get rich from a breach settlement. Joe Kerrigan describes free online courses aimed at community college students. Our guest is Dennis Toomey from BAE on how financial institutions need to enact stronger cyber protocols as employees migrate to working from home. And Beltruck says, hey, it was just helping some private eyes. And now, a word from our sponsor, Proofpoint's Observe It. Most organizations understand the challenges of external cyber attacks, but many of today's threats come from within. According to the 2019 Verizon DBIR report, 34% of all data breaches involve an insider. Whether it's careless users, disgruntled employees, or compromised accounts, insider threats are on the rise. To stop these data breaches, Observe It, the leading people-centric insider threat management solution, empowers security teams to identify user risk, detect insider-led data breaches, and accelerate security incident response, so you can protect your organization from the risk of insider threats. Get your free trial at observeit.com/cyberwire. That's observeit.com/cyberwire. And we thank Observe It for sponsoring our show. Funding for this CyberWire podcast is made possible in part by McAfee. Many companies are continuing to support a work-from-home model while putting a strain on their IT resources and security. McAfee is helping companies scale their security to work-from-home employees while optimizing IT architecture. Learn more at mcafee.com/workfromhome. From the CyberWire studios at Data Tribe, I'm Dave Bittner with your CyberWire summary for Wednesday, June 10th, 2020. Yesterday's Patch Tuesday was a heavy one. Intel fixed 22 bugs, 2 of which, in its active management technology, are rated critical. Bleeping Computer says that Microsoft's patches amounted to the largest set ever, a total of 129 fixes. Krebs on Security assesses 3 issues with Microsoft's server message block as among the most troubling. Sophos points out that a majority of the issues Microsoft addressed, a whopping 69, involved the risk of escalation of privilege exploitation. Adobe was the other prominent participant in Patch Tuesday. The company fixed problems with FrameMaker, Experience Manager, and Flash Player. Honda continues its investigation of the incident it sustained over the weekend. The Japan Times reports that domestic production has resumed, but that as of yesterday, the company had advised its employees in Tokyo and some other Japanese offices to avoid using Honda's internal network. According to TechCrunch and other outlets, the incident was an attack using the Snake strain of ransomware, also called ECANS. Honda tweeted that some of its customer-facing operations were affected. Quote, "At this time, Honda Customer Service and Honda Financial Services are experiencing technical difficulties and are unavailable," the tweet said, adding, "We are working to resolve the issue as quickly as possible. We apologize for the inconvenience and thank you for your patience and understanding." Investigation continues, but Honda has said that as far as it knows, no data were exfiltrated. Motherboard this morning reported that Facebook helped the FBI track down one Buster Hernandez, a man wanted for harassing, threatening, and abusing young girls. The company did so by working with an unidentified security firm to develop a 0 day in Tails, the privacy-focused Tor-using operating system, to give the Bureau the ability to unmask Mr. Hernandez's IP address, a hack that eventually led to his arrest. This is the only known case in which Facebook has provided this kind of assistance. Menlo Park thought the case was too heinous to pass on helping law enforcement. Also factoring in was the company's judgment that providing the assistance posed no threat to privacy and no prospect of use against anyone other than Mr. Hernandez. Avast describes a criminal campaign that uses search engine optimization tools to draw victims to malicious sites using promises of prizes. In general, the tactic has been to use the same techniques SEO consultants advise their clients to employ to bring their pages to the top. All the major search engines are affected: Google, Bing, Yahoo, Yandex, and Baidu. The operators use fixed code to create the appearance of positive Google product reviews in rich search results, Avast says. Should you follow the link, you'll be taken to a variety of pages that eventually, usually after a show of calculating results to determine a winner, tell the searcher that they, in fact, are the lucky one. The scammers also tune the language to one that fits the visitor's IP address. The examples Avast shares are in German, French, English, or Czech, and the researchers say that the grammar and usage aren't bad. The promises we've noticed have been festooned with images of falling confetti and congratulations on just having done the billionth, or maybe it was the 5 billionth search. We didn't bite, and you shouldn't either. Two major cloud services, IBM's and Google's, suffered outages earlier this week. According to Vice, Google's service went down Sunday afternoon, but was resolved within an hour. IBM underwent its own disruption late yesterday afternoon and had been restored by early evening, computing reports. Both of the outages had effects that cascaded into other services. In IBM's case, it affected Cloud Object Storage, App Connect, Kubernetes Service, Continuous Delivery, Identity and Access Management, VPN for VPC, and Watson AI Cloud Services. The Google outage affected, among others, Shopify, Snapchat, Discord, and Rocket League game servers. Some of Apple's cloud-based services also felt the effects. These included iCloud Mail, iCloud Drive, and iMessage. The causes of both outages remain under investigation. Neither is thought to be the result of a cyber attack. The lesson that computing draws from the Google incident, and the same could no doubt be said of the IBM case as well, is that the outages show the risk of a growing general dependency on a small number of cloud providers. There might be another lesson worth drawing as well. The outages were relatively swiftly mitigated and resolved, which might indicate the value the automation layer brings. Dennis Toomey is Global Director of Counter-Fraud Analytics at BAE Systems Applied Intelligence. He joins us with insights on how financial institutions need to enact stronger cyber protocols as employees continue to work from home.
I think it's probably important to note that during the global lockdowns and the border closures, restrictions on movement, and the rest of the stuff that's going on during the pandemic, we are seeing the ethically challenged or criminally motivated, if you will, individuals or groups who would usually operate in that physical world. They're moving to the online or cyber world, if you will. And since February of this year, BAE Systems Applied Intelligence Threat Intelligence Team has tracked numerous threat actors across the globe, ramping up their attempts to steal data and secure information from institutions through phishing attempts via email and other activities. Some of these attempts made users believe they were receiving the latest information from the CDC, Center for Disease Control, or the World Health Organization, but in reality, they were just attempting to transmit malware or spyware to uncover and prey on the vulnerabilities from a cyber perspective.
You know, it's been my perception that financial institutions have often been on the leading edge of things like fraud detection. Being able to have automated systems that can detect when something is amiss. Has that given them an advantage here as during this shift, as more people have shifted to working from home? Do they have a little bit of a leg up?
Yeah, it's a really, really good point because, technology is not driven by social distancing guidelines. The companies that have fraud detection systems or online system or automated systems to identify suspicious activity, they can still look at the data. The data is still there. Everything relates to the data. And if they have the right systems in place, then they're able to identify that suspicious activity within the data. The companies that are thinking about cutting back on that technology or not investing into that technology in the future, they're the ones that are going to be on the outside looking in. The criminals are smart. These guys that are doing attempting fraud or committing fraud across the financial institution, they know which institutions resist it and which institutions don't resist it. The ones that don't resist it, it's an easy target. They're going to go for them, and they're not going to go for the ones that are resisting it. So technology does play a deterrent factor as well.
What sort of things are financial institutions learning as a result of this shift to work from home and the social distancing and all those sorts of things? Are there lessons they're going to take with them when we come out on the other side?
Yeah, I do think there's a lot of lessons that they're going to be that's going to drive us into the future. I think working from home is going to consistently be a more efficient way for organizations to do business, and that would be one of my recommendations for anybody out there is to redo your risk assessment. If you haven't done one, you definitely need to do one. But if you have done one and you haven't done it in the past 6 months, you need to redo it, because you need to really look to see what other risks are out there from people working at home. And it's not just the technology, it's the human factor as well. And one of the other things is surveillance. I think financial institutions have to put into place some surveillance technology to monitor the emails, monitor where the data is going, and be able to block it right away through some type of mitigation process.
That's Dennis Toomey from BAE Systems. The Wall Street Journal reports that the latest settlement in Equifax's 2017 breach, $30.5 million, will mostly go toward a requirement that Equifax invest $25 million in upgrading its own security. So an adverse judgment can punish a company, but it's unlikely that any affected individuals are going to get rich from this kind of settlement. And finally, Sumit Gupta, founder of Beltrox, the Indian company Citizen Lab named in its report on hackers for hire, has told Reuters he did nothing wrong. All Beltrox did was help private investigators access email accounts when Beltrox was given credentials to those accounts. The snooping around environmental activist groups the Citizen Lab reported has gained a great deal of attention, but among the tasks Beltrox allegedly received from its customers was assistance in seeing what law firms, investment firms, short sellers, and private litigants were up to. That's a pretty wide net. So who were the gumshoes and peepers who Mr. Gupta worked for? Well, if they did divorce work, they wouldn't be Philip Marlowe. Beyond that, well, there are a million stories in the Naked City. And now, a word from our sponsor, Threat Connect. Designed by analysts but built for the entire team, Threat Connect's intelligence-driven security operations platform is the only solution available today with intelligence, automation, analytics, and workflows in a single platform. Every day, organizations worldwide use Threat Connect as the center of their security operations to detect, respond, remediate, and automate. With all of your knowledge in one place, enhanced by intelligence, enriched with analytics, driven by workflows, you'll dramatically improve the effectiveness of every member of the team. Want to learn more? Check out their newest ebook, SOAR Platforms. Everything you need to know about security, orchestration, automation, and response. The book talks about intelligence-driven orchestration, decreasing time to response and remediation with SOAR, and ends with a checklist for a complete SOAR solution. Download it at threatconnect.com/cyberwire. That's threatconnect.com/cyberwire. And we thank Threat Connect for sponsoring our show. And joining me once again is Joe Kerrigan. He is from the Johns Hopkins University Information Security Institute. He is also my co-host on the Hacking Humans podcast. Joe, always great to have you back.
Hi, Dave.
Wanted to congratulate you. You recently had a paper published.
Yes.
Share with us what's going on here.
So the paper is written by me, and the principal investigator was Dr. Anton DeBora, my boss, Tony. And he and I worked on developing a distributable cybersecurity course for community college students. And the goal of this course is to expose students at the community college level to a sampling of topics in cybersecurity. In this course, the course is divided into 4 modules. The first module is offensive security and forensics, and we talk about we have Dr. Leschke, who is our forensics instructor, gives a really good overview lecture of forensics. I do a lecture on passwords and the history of passwords and how to crack passwords. Dr. Lanier Watkins does 2 lectures, one of which is about how he brings down UAVs or drones, commodity UAVs and drones. Very interesting stuff. The next module that we have is an Internet of Things module. We discuss what an embedded system is, and then we do Internet of Things security for commodity Internet of Things. And then again, Dr. Watkins does a talk on SCADA and ICS devices, which are part of the Internet of Things, even though they're kind of separate. They're kind of very similar to Internet of Things devices in embedded systems. And then we have two modules. One on cryptography, which provides a good background of cryptography from Doctors Matt Green and Abhishek Jain. And then another module on blockchain, where Abhishek Jain, again, Dr. Jain walks you through the idea behind blockchain, the idea behind distributed consensus, and essentially how Bitcoin works from soup to nuts. And then one of our PhD students, who's now actually a doctor, Gabriel Kapchuk, walks the students through other uses for blockchain technology, things like auditing and microblogging.
So what's in it for Hopkins here to provide this sort of stuff to community colleges broadly? What motivates you all to do that?
Well, of course, we'd like to see more people come into our ISI program, Dave. Right? That's
okay.
That's
so
really
it's
what
not
we'd
completely
like.
Unselfish.
No. I mean, but generally, there is a consensus that there's a problem with getting people into the field. I've talked here about how that problem may not be as big as it seems, but we do need to get people interested in this field of cybersecurity, and we do need to make it available to as many people as possible. And that was really the goal, was to expose as many people as possible to these underlying theories or this broad sampling of topics in the field, and hopefully show people that there are some interesting fields that they might enjoy.
Yeah. Now, can you give me some insight? So what's your experience with folks coming up through the community college pipeline versus state schools or private schools? Or are we getting quality folks coming up through the community colleges?
Absolutely. We get quality folks coming up through the community college. My son started with a community college. He started here with Howard Community College, which is here in Howard County, Maryland, and now has progressed on to a 4-year institution where he'll get his degree, hopefully, at the end of next year. It's a great way to start a college career and make it more affordable as well, because a lot of these community colleges have enrollment agreements with other 4-year institutions. So if you're a senior in high school or a junior in high school, actually, you should probably be thinking about this in your sophomore or junior year, look at the community colleges and ask where they have transfer agreements to, and see if you would like to go to some of those schools as well. Then enroll with the community college and target with the target of going to that school, that 4-year school. Because when you graduate from that 4-year school, you just get a degree from that 4-year school, right?
Right.
You don't. Nobody really knows or cares that you went to
Right.
community college for 2 years.
Right. Nobody cares where you started. They care where you finished.
Right. Exactly.
Right. Right.
And then once you have your 4-year degree, give us a call here at Hopkins, or come apply to the ISI program. Or heck, even
Joe, we sell ads, Joe.
Right.
We
I believe we buy ads, right?
You do. All right. Well, before my boss comes at me, I suppose it's probably a good time to wrap up this segment. Joe Kerrigan?
Can I plug the website?
Sure.
So,
why not?
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, I want people to have this course. If you want to check it out, go to cybercourse, all one word, .isi.jhu.edu, and you can sign up for an account there and immediately download the course material as one zip file.
Yeah, that's a great opportunity, because these are some high-level people offering their insights and, teaching you some of these topics.
That's right, Dave. It's a lot of our faculty are involved in this. I deliver a couple of lectures. We even have some people from the Applied Physics Laboratory talking.
That's right. All right. Well, Joe Kerrigan, thanks for joining us.
It's my pleasure, Dave.
And that's the CyberWire. For links to all of today's stories, check out our daily briefing at thecyberwire.com. And for professionals and cybersecurity leaders who want to stay abreast of this rapidly evolving field, sign up for CyberWire Pro. It'll save you time and keep you informed. Listen for us on your Alexa smart speaker, too. Thanks to all of our sponsors for making the CyberWire possible, especially our supporting sponsor, Proofpoint's Observit, the leading people-centric insider threat management solution. Learn more at observit.com. The CyberWire podcast is proudly produced in Maryland out of the startup studios of Data Tribe, where they're co-building the next generation of cybersecurity teams and technologies. Our amazing CyberWire team is Elliot Peltzman, Peru Prakash, Stefan Vaziri, Kelsey Bond, Tim Nodar, Joe Kerrigan, Carol Terrio, Ben Yellen, Nick Valecki, Gina Johnson, Bennett Moe, Chris Russell, John Petrick, Jennifer Iben, Rick Howard, Peter Kilpie, and I'm Dave Bittner. Thanks for listening. See you back here tomorrow.